Just to explain what we're doing here, we picked 3 players that we think will be there at 28. And then if we were, of course, the GM, who we would pick out of the 3.
Okay.
So here's my top 3 there. And no surprise, DeJuan Jones is there. Will McDonald, the edge rusher. I think it was really a tie between him and Emmanuel Forbes. But I think Will McDonald just provides you with a little bit more safety and a plan for when you have to deal with Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. Gives you some rotational, depth there as well. And then Kalijah Cansey. There's just, he has fallen quite a bit on a lot of people's mock drafts. I don't think the tape necessarily suggests that he should fall. It's more just all the outside noise that's happened with him where he did not have a top 30 visit. None of the teams wanted to visit with him, which is just very odd for a guy that potentially could be in the top, 32 picks. So Kalijah Cansey potentially being there, I think adds what you were missing last year, which is interior pressure in a guy that can really just dominate, at least on third down, third and long, passing situations, which the Bengals found themselves a lot in during the championship game. And I think he would have made the difference in that game. If you're asking me who I'm going to take in this situation, I have it in order of who I would take because I'm going to try to not upset the fans. I would take Kalijah Cansey first, then Will McDonald. I really think they need to get something with the pass rush done. I think you can wait a little longer on a corner, probably get a corner in free agency next year, and you'll be fine. And then DeJuan Jones, man. I will be on that train. I will be very upset if DeJuan Jones goes to the Chiefs or the Steelers at 31 and 32 or whatever it is. I'll be very upset. But if that doesn't happen, then we still have a chance to get him in the second round. And I won't be upset if he doesn't get taken. But, those are my guys. I really think that the Bengals will be in a position where they can't go wrong. I really do feel like that. I think there's going to be a guy there that most fans will be happy with. Something that I just don't think they've done often is pick edge rusher or someone like a pass rusher. So that leads me to believe that maybe they'll go with Emmanuel Forbes. I just didn't put him on there because I know that a lot of us would have Emmanuel Forbes on there, and I want to provide a little bit of a different flavor. And plus, like you said, what you said to me has kind of really stuck to me, Tom. They need to get some more pressure. They just need to. And it's just, I know it's not really necessarily their play style that's on defense for the Bengals to create a lot of pressure, but having a guy like Kalijah Cansey doesn't mean that you change anything really schematically.
That's right.
But he's just dominant by himself, right? You don't need to scheme things for him to get pressure.
Right.
You don't have to send another guy. Kalijah Cansey just provides that for you. So I think that makes the most sense for me.
All right. Reed?
All right, yeah. So for the 3 guys that I think the Bengals might take, you'll see that there's a common theme, all defensive guys. A lot of talk about the Bengals and adding some offensive presence, either with a tight end or running back. But really, I think what the Bengals are going to do is shore up the defense even more because that's what is shine brightest in the biggest spot. So first, you got Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback out of Mississippi State. I think he's been attached to the Bengals a lot. He's right around the spot where, the late first round. Listen, secondary, depth in the secondary is key. Injuries are going to happen. So we lost a couple guys in the secondary. I know most of them were safeties, but Forbes is a little small, but he'll be great. I just think he'll be a great addition to that secondary, just adding depth. Myles Murphy is an interesting pick because I think he's going to get drafted before the Bengals. But
really? Okay.
If he falls all the way down, I think that he's a no-brainer there at edge, and for the same reasons that Casey said, and that is the pressure that the Bengals get on the edge isn't enough. It truly isn't. To be the elite teams, you're constantly getting to the quarterback, and that is one area that I think the Bengals haven't been able to really apply. So Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, they do a great job, but maybe it's time to look forward. And we've seen the Bengals in the past draft a year in advance. We saw that last year when they get in a safety knowing that they're probably going to lose their safeties the year following. So I think defensive line is looking ahead, and that's why I also went, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name, but the defensive tackle from Northwestern. He's gotten a lot of hype for what he's been able to do, as well for, his freakish athletic ability.
Yep. Attaboy, by the way.
Attaboy. All right. I know on certain draft boards he's a little farther down, right, Casey? He's some people have him taken in the mid-second round.
Yep.
But I think he might be who the Bengals go after right then and there. And it's just for the exact reasons I said for Myles Murphy. I think they're looking a year ahead. I think they're trying to get some defensive line presence to help Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, and already the great defensive line that they have. Just knowing that it's probably not going to be here in a year or two. So you're looking ahead. So those are the 3 guys I took.
All right, Paul.
All right, so the way I handled this was I figured the top 3 positions that the Bengals needed, and I picked one of each. So I went with Mike Meyer if he's available there. I don't know if he'll still be available at tight end. I mean, if you've listened to this, you know how much I think of Mike. I'm very biased towards him, but that's fine. I'll get that out in the open. Cam Smith, cornerback. I mean, kind of to what Reed has been talking about defensively. I think the pick here could be on the defensive side of the ball. And I would love, especially if Meyer isn't there, to go with somebody that can get to the quarterback. I want pressure. So these are my 3 guys. Mozzie Smith, Cam Smith, 2 Smiths and a Meyer.
Who are you picking of that 3?
I can't back down from my take of Mike Meyer, but
he's a freak.
I similar to my other takes where I can't back down from that. I would take Meyer, but if not, I want somebody that can get to the quarterback, so I put Mozzie Smith up there.
Did you pick a guy actually?
Oh, no, I didn't actually pick a guy.
Yeah, I need you to pick one there.
Oh,
of those 3 guys you put up there, and you talked about.
If Myles Murphy was around, I'd take Myles Murphy.
Okay.
That's who I would take.
Okay. All right. Casey, any thoughts on those guys and their picks?
Yeah, I think the Attaboy is actually a really underrated pick, and kind of the same reasons as why I picked Kalijah Cansey. I think they both are very. One is more athletically sound and has better physical traits.
Right.
Attaboy. The film isn't as good as Kalijah, but the testing was just off the charts. That's the dude that ran a 4.4 at 280 or whatever,
right?
4.5. I mean, it's just insane. I think that there's a reasonable option there, and I like that as a dark horse pick. I like Emmanuel Forbes a lot. I think for Paul, I
grade me, Casey.
I like Michael Mayer.
No, you don't.
I think he's a safe pick. I'm just not a fan of safe picks. Okay. I like Mozzie Smith as a nose tackle guy. He would definitely be the replacement for Reeder, and it's coming, people. It's coming. It's going to happen. We're going to be paying all these guys. Mozzie Smith makes a lot of sense for a guy that you're looking in the future. He's also a guy that if Reeder ever went down, you're not having to completely change your scheme like we've had to in the past, where we didn't have that big guy up front. Like BJ Hill's, he's not a nose tackle. He's a 3-tech. So Mozzie Smith makes a lot of sense there. I like Cam Smith as well. He's getting some top of the second round vibes, which might make a lot of sense because maybe a lot of the corners go off on the board and they want to pick a corner. I like it. I like a lot of these guys' picks for the Bengals. Like I said, I think there's a lot of guys on here that make a lot of sense that I don't think the Bengals could go wrong. And I think all these guys literally have a chance to be at 28.
Okay. All right. Here are my 3. You have Forbes, the DB out of Mississippi State. Will McDonald, Iowa State. I know a lot has been made of the style of defense that he played in at Iowa State. And then you have DeJuan Jones, the offensive tackle from Ohio State, right tackle. I think the Bengals feel like, and these are their Well, these are 3 of 4, in my opinion. I'm putting tight end 5th. The top 4 needs for the Bengals in no particular order, and that's up for Duke Tobin to decide. Reed, I believe, accurately points out you have to start looking for now the next wave, okay? So as far as your roster and the makeup of your roster. So you have a pass rusher, you have an offensive lineman, you have a running back. This is in no particular order. And then you have a corner, right? The game has evolved where you cannot have enough good secondary players because teams are spreading it out. The run game is not as prominent as it used to be. Teams want to sling it around. I'm going to take in that group, I'm going to take Emmanuel Forbes. The only thing, the thing you love about him, there are guys that are just playmakers, that are ball hawks.
Yeah.
I think he had 14 interceptions. It's been a long time since a Bengal had a lot of interceptions. It was a corner. I think Reggie Nelson led the league one year as a safety in interceptions. So it's been a while since they've had a corner that is a ball hawk playmaker. I think he returned 6 of those picks for touchdowns.
Yes.
The only thing that worries me a little bit, and so, when I'm sitting there looking at their corners moving forward, Cam Taylor-Britt, first-year starter. Awuzie coming back from ACL, contract up in a year. Hilton, your slot guy, you brought Sidney Jones in to kind of be the Eli Apple of the 6th DB back there, right? So I think they got to get younger there. They got to get more athletic there. The only thing that worries me at all, and it's been said by everybody, is the guy weighs 166 pounds.
Yeah, I mean,
and the Bengals are a great, not good, great tackling team.
I mean, he comes up and plays really well in the run game too. I mean, if he was 185, he would be right there with Gonzalez and Witherspoon. He has that good a film, and I really don't think the weight is necessarily an issue, mainly because he played at like 175 in college, right? He slimmed down to have some better times in the draft, the combine process, and pro day process. And I think once he gets to the NFL, he's going to be on the big boy plan. You know what I mean? They're not gonna let him play at 165. You're not gonna get a guy like that. Now, how much weight he can put on, I don't know. I at least expect him to be at 180. I think he can get there, and if he's there, you're okay. You're okay.
You're okay. I would agree with that. 100%. Well, it's going to be fun. We're going to go through our 2nd and 3rd round picks tomorrow. Somewhere in this mix, fellas, they got to get a running back. Would you trade up if you knew you could make the deal? Would you trade up and go get Bijan Robinson?
No, I would not trade.
Would you trade Jonah Williams to move up to get the tackle? That was the proposed trade, I think, on ESPN.com about a week and a half ago that we all kind of liked.
I do. I would do that. I would trade 28 for 19 and Jonah Williams for their 3rd round pick as well, right? It was swapping 3rds and 1st for Jonah Williams as well, I believe. Something like that. Something to the realm of that. I would do that. I think that's a lot of value there because then you literally have any option that you were thinking of at 28 available to you. But
okay.
No, I'm not trading up to get Bijan Robinson, regardless of where it's at. If he falls to you, then you have that conversation. But man, me and Rhea have been on this same train for a long time. You cannot afford to take a running back in the 1st round. It's just not enough value there. There's just not.
Tell you what, though, somebody pointed out in the chat, and this was not accurate, something about Bijan Robinson piled up big yards against crummy teams, didn't do much against good teams. Against Alabama, the 2nd game of the year, you might remember that, why am I drawing a blank on the kid? He used to be at Ohio State, the quarterback for Texas. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, he started off and just shredded Alabama's defense in the 1st quarter. Then he got hurt. Okay? Alabama knew that. They were putting in a guy I'd never played before at quarterback for Texas. So they just zeroed in on Stuffin Robinson, and they did. He only had 57 yards. But you look at some of the other teams they play, Oklahoma, 130. Iowa State, 135. Oklahoma State, 140. Kansas State, who won the Big 12, 209 yards rushing. Kansas, 243. Kansas had a good team. Baylor, 179 yards rushing. So Robinson did not back down against the quote-unquote big boys. Do we have Ryan Noda in yet?
No, we do not. And you were thinking of Quinn and Ewers.
Thank you very much.